book lovers of YouTube? Nicholas back at you again with another review of one of my favorite books ever. This is A Spectacular Now by Tim Drape. And a little backstory about me in this book is last year I actually saw the movie for the first time on Max. I had never heard of this film, I knew nothing about it. I watched the trailer and it looked like a cute, like sappy, mushy teen romance. And little did I know this movie would change my life and become one of my favorite films ever and leave a lasting impact on my heart. I was not expecting it to be like that deep, and like the whole third act where it becomes like an emotional drama just like caught me off guard, and I was like, what is happening? I'm like so moved right now. So I got the book, and the book is just so good too. This story is so powerful, I feel like, it really is a very mature coming of age romance. And I don't really think it's too much of a romance because their relationship isn't that healthy. It's really codependent. And this relationship, though, they learn so much about themselves through it. It is about living your best life and not just being like stuck in like neutral. I think a lot of adults are like stuck in neutral. So it's a very like honest teen story. And it shows like how someone can change you, and they could change you for the better, but you have to ultimately decide if you're going to be the best version of yourself. And that's what I love so much about this, because it's like a whole like living your life to the fullest love story, like very similar to a lot of 2010s stuff, and has a lot of depth to it. And I think the book takes what the movie showed through images and just expands it in a beautiful way through words. Like Tim really added like so much beauty in this story. Like there's passages that just you just feel like you want to live your best life. Like there's one scene in the book where he's at a party, and without giving away too much, he like is being destructive and like doing stuff that isn't really the best thing to do, and putting people's lives in like danger. And someone's like saying to him like what he's doing is like selfish. It's just written in such a beautiful way. Like some of these passages about him learning to live a full life, and I thought that was so beautiful. It's really important, I think, for people who had a hard childhood to read this book, because it's a live your life to the fullest story about Sutter learning to embrace himself. And also Amy. I feel like Amy is the opposite of Sutter, though. She's like very sweet and insecure and not like as outgoing. So she's dealing with her pain differently. But I feel like a lot of people can relate to it, but especially if you had a dysfunctional family, this story really tackles that in a way that is really powerful. And the book goes into more of the dysfunction both of these characters go through without spoiling a lot. I think the book really shows how much pain these people are holding and how they're learning to enter the adult world, which can be scary. You're trying to build your own life now after going through a lot of trauma. And everyone's been through trauma. There's different levels of it, I believe. Some people have been through more, but everyone has had hard stuff happen to them. But I think these characters are dealing with a lot of internal struggles, and seeing them like learn to embrace themselves is just such a beautiful thing. And ultimately, like I was saying, these characters have to like choose to build a better life for themselves. There's no one coming to save you in this world. We're all our own individuals, and you have to make the choice to live a better life. And that's what this story does so good. Like you have the power. Like Sutter's right now having the power to be the likable guy and get all the love and all that, be the cool guy. But at the end of the day, there's more to life than just that. And knowing that you don't have to be like your parents. Like another thing this book does so well is showing like, yeah, your parents might have messed up and done horrible things, but that doesn't have to be you. And for me, that was just so powerful. Like, and the words in this book show that in such an amazing way. I think there's a lot of metaphors he uses, and it's just like really touching. Yeah, you may have gone through bad things, witnessed horrible stuff during your family home, but you don't have to bring that into your life. And I think now we're in a time where like cycle breaking is being talked about like so much more. And like I think this story now, that's why it's on Max, is because it's like I feel like now can be so relevant too. It's very showing that you don't have to continue to cycle, and I think that's really amazing. I think Amy and Sutter both really have their own distinct personalities, which I really like too. It shows too how like people deal with trauma in different ways, and I think that was very unique. And yeah, I think it really is a live your life to the fullest story, like done right. I feel like, there are so many books and movies that have these themes. I'm drawn to themes like that, but I think this one does it in a really good way. Like, for example, The Fault in Our Stars, Me Before You. There's so many of those like live your life to the fullest stories, but this one, the writing is really good. I think Tim really put a lot of thought into like telling the story and showing that he doesn't have to be like this forever. I think that too. There's a lot of messages here about how our actions have consequences, and I think that's really important too. And that was beautiful to see that what you do is going to affect the people around you, and you gotta be a good person, and there's always going to be trials in life, and it could be scary to go out in the world and show your true self, but the people that are going to love you will love your true self. Being your true self is worth it, and you shouldn't have to mask who you are, yeah, I think it's a good mix too of drama and humor. I think Sutter has his own like charm, and I really like that too. And Amy does too. I mean, she's such a sweet girl, and I think that a lot of guys, though, it's kind of sad to see how a lot of guys have treated her in the past. I think it shows too sweet people have it hard sometimes, and that was another message that really spoke to me because I think she really wants to be loved, and that's why she's drawn to this boy. And that was another amazing aspect to the book. I think the movie didn't dive into that as much as the book, like how she really, really was showing him, like, look, I want this future. I want a good future. And he's like the opposite. He's just like stuck in this position where he's deep down scared. And that's the thing, too. You can't be scared of the future because there's going to be so many good things coming your way that you have to embrace them. So overall, it is one of my favorite books ever. It's not like number one, but I think it's in the top like 10, and I really love it. I mean, I don't really have any cons. I think it's pretty much a flawless book, especially if you're into like live your life to the fullest, YA, all that stuff. I think you're gonna love it. I think in that like subgenre, I know it's a subgenre. I think it's just YA, but I just like a lot of YA and even adult romances cover like themes about living your life to the fullest. But I think it's a specific like niche kind of. I feel like there are other romances I've read that are just like the cowboy, but this is not. If you're into like more of a drama and more of a self-reflective romance, this is definitely for you. And yeah, I guess it's 5 stars out of 5. So yeah, I mean, let me know what you think if you've read The Spectacular Now. I would love to know. Did you think it was overrated when it like came out, or did you love it? Because I know a lot of times when a book is so popular, like it's divisive. This was a pretty big book. I think like in 2010, 2009. It's so long now though, like 14 years. But it's better late than never, right? That's the way I look at it. I mean, if a book is good, it's gonna stay on the test of time. So yeah, thank you guys for watching.